To this, coastal schools are set to open this week for the 2023 academic year, and parents, educators and the Western Cape Education Department are working hard to ensure every learner is placed in that province. Now this, as many schools are already filled to the brim and with more late applications, as we just heard from a viewer here in Gauteng as well expected. Now to discuss this further, I'm joined by Western Cape Education Department spokesperson Bronagh Hammond. Thank you so much, Bronagh, for joining me. I don't know if you just heard that, our reporter, our viewer, speaking to a very frustrated parent, almost, tears almost coming to her eyes there. As you can imagine, this is a frustrating time for parents. What's the situation there in the Western Cape? Over 500 grade 1 and grade 8 learners here in Gauteng still unplaced. Is that the same situation in the Western Cape?
Well, yes, yeah, I can understand her frustration and anxiety, and it is a difficult situation, one in which we will face as well in the next few days and weeks. In the Western Cape, at the end of December, we had 680 grade 1s and grade 8 learners that we were still yet to place. This is after placing 50,000 more than we had the previous year at the same time. So we have made great gains in terms of previous years, and that is due to an infrastructure build that we had committed to do at the end of last year, the building of 842 new classrooms for the 2023 school as a result of a budget boost in our infrastructure budget. So while we've made great gains, I think we will have a similar situation that you see in Gauteng and in other provinces, to which we are sympathetic, because we do understand that it is a challenge. It's not as easy as just placing a child in any school, their nearest school. There's many factors that one has to consider also in terms of placing that child, such as language preference, subject choices, and even, it's a specific grade cohort that they are in. But we are committed as a province to placing all our learners as soon as possible. But at the same time, we do not know how many late applications we will receive in the coming days, and that will remain a challenge for the next weeks.
Do you think it's up to, the different departments in the different provinces to just, maybe try and find a way to make parents aware that they need to apply earlier? Like, should there be something done, maybe a marketing tool in some way to make sure that parents do the right things at the right time? Because, the festive season comes and then everybody forgets about, the kids and having to place them in school. So should something be done prior, maybe even from the middle of the year, to make sure that parents do the right thing?
Well, in the Western Cape, actually, we open up our enrollment process as early as March of the year before, and that ends in April. So we do that early so that we can get as much of the information as possible, all the data about the learners, where there will be demand, what areas do we need to focus on in terms of our infrastructure projects, how many teachers do we need to allocate towards that school year. So we do all of that forward planning right in the beginning. We want to finish and wrap up our whole enrollment process from schools accepting learners in June, actually, of the previous year, so that we can use that data to plan ahead. But unfortunately, despite a huge marketing campaign, despite the fact that the media even have assisted us greatly in terms of, making that call and appeal to parents to please apply on time, we're still getting applications to this day. And I think that's where the challenge lies. And, there is a lot of sympathy for parents, as you had on before, who applied well in advance and still not yet had the place. But for a parent who only arrives on our doorstep this week and says, I need a place, we are asking for them to please be patient, because there's a lot of factors involved in terms of placing their child. As I said, we need to consider their subject choices, if they're on a specific subject stream in the high school, or even their language preferences. So it's not as easy, as I said, as placing just a child in the nearest school. Those factors need to be considered. So yes, any additional appeal to parents to please apply early. And for those that need to apply for the 2024 school year, I hope they're looking at this, and when we do make a call on the 17th of March for parents to apply for 2024, that they do so immediately.
And would you say you are ready for this week for those late registrations? Are you ready to assist these parents and these children and a time frame where you will be able to, maybe give us a time frame where you will be able to place these late registrations in schools? Like, will you be able to do it in a week's time?
Well, actually, there's two factors here. There's the factor of we don't know how many late applications will you receive in what areas yet. We've seen in previous years an increase in late applications in a specific community due to a community moving during the school holidays, for example, and a land grab in a certain community, and now those children, there are children there that require placement, and so that will not be a week's effort because of the fact that we've actually got to plan additional classrooms for those children. But the other factor, which is a very important factor, is the 10th school day. Now, on the 10th school day, we have what we call as a 10-day SNAP survey, where we have a SNAP survey of all the children in the province, and we're able to see class sizes in every school. As well as on the 10th school day, a learner cannot be deregistered from a school until the 10th school day if they've been absent for 10 consecutive days without giving valid reason. So on the 10th school day, the school can deregister that learner legally, and then we are able to replace that learner on that system with another learner that is a late application or is a leading placement. So that is where we will see a lot of movement after the 10th school day, because we'll be able to look at schools and say, hey, we can see there's gaps in some of your classes that we can fill. Please, can we fill them? And we can then use our placement lists to then match those learners to those schools.
Now, just very lastly, I know you've received, I think, is it 830 million rand with your infrastructure budget this financial year. That is a lot of money. How will this be implemented, and how will this help you as a department?
Yes, this boost has been fantastic. It has been much needed, and we've been appealing for it for a long time now. I think in previous years we've been hampered in our infrastructure delivery programs because of the fact that a few years ago we had the drought, and we had to allocate all our infrastructure money towards drought initiatives for our schools. Then we had COVID-19, and there was no money except to use our infrastructure budget in terms of preparing our schools for safety measures. And that budget was used again. But then we've shown the national government how committed we are in terms of providing adequate infrastructure for our learners, and that we can deliver. And so what we did was that with the 830 million rand boost, which is a 2.5 billion infrastructure budget, we have promised 842 new classrooms for the 2023 school year, which will accommodate 26,000 additional learners. We are well on track to meet that target, and we have been working very hard to ensure that this happens over the school holidays, during the builders' holidays, to make sure that we can have those classrooms ready as promised. So this is unprecedented. We've never been able to deliver so fast, and we're very proud of ourselves. But at the end of the day, we still know that we will face issues on Wednesday.
Of course. All right. We will be keeping a close eye, but good luck to you as well. And of course, that money will definitely help with the capacity issue that we know the Western Cape does have with the growing communities there. And of course, schools being overpopulated in many areas there. So hopefully that money will help with that situation.